everybody. It's your girl, PJamma, with PJamma Life. And I'm on a delay a little bit, so bear with me. But I have my two fellas here who are never delayed with their comments. Let's say hey to Patrick, the guy, the specialist, the all things Marvel guru. Say hey to the people.
Hi. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching.
And our super fan of all things Star Wars, who I'm sure is on cloud nine this week. Say hey to the people, Han Solo's son.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm coming to you live from my timeshare on the ice planet Hoth. It is as cold and frigid as you would imagine, but the hot springs are not nearly as good as what was advertised. There's all these tiny little white spiders around here, too. So it's
What's
not
that thing behind you? I think it's an ice spider.
But good to be with you guys tonight.
Well, we have got a ton of stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about, of course, Boba Fett. We're going to talk about Peacemaker, a couple of episodes. We're going to talk about the power of the dog and being the Ricardos. So why don't we start off with the Book of Boba Fett.
What I'm short on is muscle.
Credits can buy muscle, if you know where to look.
I'm here for Kababayas. I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Then you have completed your quest.
I have.
Then you may join our covert as we rebuild. What shall I forge?
Something for a foundling. For a specific foundling. Grogu.
We gotta let David talk about this first. So go ahead and give us some of that Star Wars encyclopedia knowledge.
Well, first, of course, we have to interrupt this special episode of the Book of Boba Fett to bring in the Mandalorian. So we didn't know we were going to get like the beginning of season 3. This episode kind of did it. What a joy. It was fantastic to see the Mandalorian back. You get the armor, you get the heavy, they call them infantry on the toy shelves, the heavy infantry Mandalorian. He's got a jetpack. I wouldn't call him infantry. Great episode. Wonderful to kind of get back up with the guy who's kind of led this renaissance of Star Wars on Disney Plus. Fantastic episode. I have to say, one of the neatest things about it was the fact that we were off Tatooine. We saw another part of the Star Wars universe. We were introduced to new characters, new villains, new use of some of the alien masks and things. It was great. A fantastic episode. Glad that we're going back. And it also says something. For all of the shows that are in the same kind of continuum, you could expect Boba Fett to be on The Mandalorian and the Mando to be here, maybe Fennec Shan or some of these folks get on Ahsoka, which will also take place in the same timeline that'll be coming out. A fun episode. We also see everybody. Hasbro said, we have a bunch of episode 1 toys that we haven't sold yet. And here you go. The Mandalorian's new ride, the N1 Naboo speeder, looking silver, all chromed out there, like a Galaxy 500 Ford from 1972. This was a fun episode. Glad to see him back. I will say I did miss Boba Fett. I mean, Tamara Morrison has done a fantastic job, so it was a little odd not having him in this episode. But a lot of fun and from my end.
Pat, hang in there.
Oh, you want me to hang in there or you want me to go?
Go.
Okay. Just checking. it was really nice to see season 2.1 of the Mandalorian, because that was not the Book of Boba Fett. Other than they had a little bit of a intro blurb about how we got here, and then Fennec showed up in the last 3 minutes of the episode. But yes, the Naboo starfighter was amazing to see again. Seeing them, go ahead and just soup it all up and put all the crazy stuff. Saw some nice throwbacks to earlier episodes with the two cop X-Wings show up and try to pull him over again. And he's like, "Yeah, not today. Sorry about that. New tags. I don't have my tags on my car,
Yeah,
but I do have some really badass engines in this. So later days, boys. Did he go light speed? No, that's just his sublight engines. I'm sorry, it's kind of fast, and that was super awesome. The beginning of it was really cool to see how the Covenant moved to another world, and it made me think of a great science fiction book, Ringworld, by Larry Niven,
yes.
which had the big ring world. Wasn't a Dyson spear, but
and Elysium.
Really good
Yes.
science fiction, basis there. A nod to like some of the great masters of science fiction where everybody came from.
Right.
I really enjoyed it, and just cute things like the little bag tied like Grogu's head that looked like the gift for the foundling, as it were. And the Darksaber, of course, we can't, we're dancing around the elephant in the room. The Darksaber here, we kind of got some things kind of going on with that. We don't know where that's going to end up. Didn't seem like Moff Gideon had no problem utilizing the Darksaber, but now we're having an issue with the Darksaber fighting against him. It's kind of like, in some of the Thor issues I've been reading recently, Mjolnir is having problems with Thor, and it's not wanting to work for him. That you're getting these weapons that are getting semi-sentient, which is kind of an interesting take. So, but overall, super awesome episode. But it wasn't the Book of Boba Fett. It was the Mandalorian 2.1.
Right.
So here we go.
Yeah, and I think that was my only problem with the episode, was that should have been, like David said, season 3, episode 1 of the Mandalorian. I didn't think it was fair to have the whole thing about it. And to me, it kind of showed how much better the Mandalorian is compared to Boba Fett. So I think that was kind of risky for them to do, because now you're kind of like, I don't know about this one. So, but a couple of callbacks that cylinder that they had, the Jawas had, was the same one from Star Wars that Han Solo used in the garbage scene. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, that is so cool. And apparently the little girl in the ship, in the commercial airliner, said something in Huttese. Is that how you say it? Huttese.
Yeah, Huttese.
I think she said like incredible or something like that when she saw him outside. And I guess that was kind of a nod back to something else in the series or something. So it was, little things in there. But I tell you one thing I especially enjoyed was the artwork at the end. The artwork at the end was incredible in this episode. And it gave me the feels when something happened, and I was so sad. I just was like, no, I don't want this to happen. And so, but we'll see. We're going to be at the penultimate episode next week. There's only 2 left. So it's still a great series, and definitely look forward to it. And we will be back talking about it next week, because the next to the last one is always a humdinger. So
in a word, it was wizard.
Wizard.
Got that reference to that.
Wizard. All right, on to our next, which is kind of a 180. The Peacemaker on HBO Max.
Oh, hey, it's you.
What are we gonna do about him?
Hey, no! You told Vigilante to kill Peacemaker's father?
I just kind of put the idea in his head.
Let's pick a topic, and then everyone goes around in a circle and says their feelings on that topic. I don't know. Let's each say something that we're grateful for that Black people have contributed to American culture.
What about some jazz?
Jazz. I listen to Vigilante's quiet farts back there in jazz.
No, I didn't.
Oh, shit.
Love you too, buddy.
My buddy Eagly made it back. I love Eagly. He's my best friend too. Pat, why don't you talk about the Peacemaker?
Okay, I wasn't, I'm not familiar with the lore because it's a DC property, so I'm like, only thing I've been exposed to this is through the movies. And John Cena really does a great job at making someone who's probably pretty unlikable a little bit more likable. Yeah. You're starting to see some wrestling with feelings and things, and overall, it was pretty good. It was totally ridiculous. Yes. The complete theme that they keep going with, and you can tell this is another gun film, because he's obviously decided to make a musical stamp on every one of these movies, like all the Guardians of the Galaxy had these nice late 70s, pop ballads and stuff going on, and it was great stuff. And this one's like every hair band in the world, every episode, the opening, Cinderella, awesome, and there's a definite stylistic thing going with it. Yeah. That left you the cliffhanger at the end of the last episode that we watched, and I'm enjoying it. I just along for the ride. I don't understand where it's going. They have some really good interplay between Vigilante and Peacemaker are hilarious. Vigilante a complete sociopath, which is awesome, and then Peacemaker, he's not quite a full sociopath, but he's got sociopathic tendencies. So here we are. It's good stuff. It's good, not clean fun, but pretty good stuff. And I think I said this a couple weeks ago when we talked about last time, is I really like the actress who plays his keeper or whatever you want to call her. Yeah, because I loved her in Orange Is the New Black. And even now, I still think of her as Casey.
Danielle Brooks.
She is awesome, and she was great. So good in Orange Is the New Black, and I could see her again. And I have trouble kind of transitioning because that character was so real. And now I'm like, how did Tasty get into the CIA, man? I don't understand how this worked, but it's delightful. I do enjoy it.
Yeah. And she is so natural. It's not, I don't feel like I'm watching somebody acting. Feel like I'm just watching somebody in everyday life. She's just so natural with
it. Makes you wonder if she picks roles that are like her so that she can just seamlessly blend into them. I don't know. So anyway.
Oh, let me do a shout out to the Superpower Dare Die team. A new subscriber who's here today. Hey, bros. Okay, and David, talk about this one. What did you think of Peacemaker?
Again, I think it's fun. The music, as Patrick said, really is, I think, a nice aspect.
Culture.
Bro culture, but it hooked me. That's why I liked the first one, because I couldn't stand any of the DC superhero movies. Yeah. The Suicide Squad's not fun. So this was surprisingly fun to me.
Yeah.
And so I've enjoyed the bro culture, as it were. It's a little gory at some spots. The butterflies, that sound reminds me of the 1970s remake of the Body Snatcher movie.
Body Snatchers, yeah.
That really powerful scene when Donald Sutherland screams at the lady, and this was fun. It's a good cast. Danielle Brooks does really shine in this.
Yeah.
And I'm not as familiar with the Orange is the New Black, but she's good in this. But everybody, it's a nice ensemble cast, and it's entertaining. What they've done with this show, they couldn't do, despite Margot Robbie's role in the Suicide Squads. This is fun to watch. She's fun to watch, but this show is fun to watch, unlike those movies.
Yeah. And I think that it is really interesting to see how they're doing the story. So each week I'm interested. And my new favorite character too is Vigilante. Last week when he was picking the fight in prison, that whole thing he did, I was just dying rolling. He is just, and I like, he says, well, other people who have feelings, but not me. I don't have any. I don't care.
He only has 9 toes now, or 9.5 toes.
It doesn't affect his balance that much, though. Yes.
No, and that guy is so funny and unexpectedly funny, and so I always look forward to see what goofiness him and Peacemaker are going to get up into. And I think that these episodes, I think there was a great cliffhanger because I can't figure out one of the characters. I can't figure out their motivation. So that's really interesting for me to be like, huh? He's doing this, but he's also doing that. I don't understand. So we'll see. It's I don't think they have very many episodes in this one. So we're already to the 5th episode. So I think it's probably maybe 8 or 9. 8 episodes. So we only have 3 left. So yeah, so it's going to get really interesting, I think, once we figure out the whole butterfly thing. But it looks like the butterflies have a surprising, maybe different kind of story. So we'll see. Okay,
there was a nice allusion to that with the, I don't know the name of it.
The X-ray helmet.
The what?
The X-ray helmet.
Yeah. That guy.
Don't say what happened with it.
No, but I mean, he was about to share something, and and he didn't. So I do think there's something more with the backstory. I'm curious if we'll see something with them similar to the way the Skrulls were introduced, and almost as a sympathetic character, which is very different from how they've been in the Marvel comics. I'm no expert like Patrick, but I do know the Skrulls are generally the bad guys in that. But we saw like a little bit of a little bit of a switch on the character there. So we're curious to see what happens with the butterflies.
Well, they're doing a whole switch up with Peacemaker too. So I think this kind of is redeeming what we thought of as bad guys. Might not be bad guys, which is a nod to James Gunn as well. So
but the white supremacists are the bad guys. We know that unequivocally. We know those are definitely the bad guys in the prison. So
yes. Okay, let's go to the next one, which is The Power of the Dog on Netflix.
What is it you see up there, Phil?
When my father passed, I wanted nothing more than my mother's happiness. For what kind of man would I be if I did not help my mother? If I did not save her?
Woo! Okay, I'm gonna start. This movie blew me away. I did not know what I was in for. I was bored through probably a quarter of it, maybe half. And then it did a complete switcheroo, and the ending, oh my goodness. I was like, Jane Campion, she always does something surprising. She came out of semi-retirement to do this one. And man, it was something I just could not stop thinking about. I was like, wow. So I definitely enjoy The Power of the Dog. I'm gonna have to review the book and the movie because it's a book for my show. So definitely for me, check out The Power of the Dog. What does David think?
Wonderful cast.
Yes.
I think the visual on that really, it makes you want to take a trip, provided it's decent weather, to go out west and see the starkness. I think that the land was a great kind of symbolism for where the characters were and all. So beautifully done. I did kind of get a little bit of shut eye then early at the beginning of this too. So I hear you there. So, but again, one to see. You have motivated me to read the book and do the compare and contrast.
Yes.
I've only seen one book that isn't better than the movie, and that was Jaws by Peter Benchley. Every other book surpasses. So I am, from my experience, I'm sure there's probably some that are different, but that's just my experience. But I am curious to see how those two pieces will compare, and I look forward to kind of being able to talk to you guys probably offline about that comparison later. Unless we do a book club. Unless we do a book club.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be talking about a book.
That's what I do. So I want to check that out. So I've started reading it, but Patrick, what did you think?
I think I have the same complaint you guys did. It was pacing. The pacing was really plodding, but it kind of really lent itself to the build up towards the end. And the cinematography was breathtaking.
Yes.
It was really interesting to see Jesse Plemons, or as I like to call him, low rent Matt Damon.
Yes.
Or he's in a lot more stuff than Matt Damon is, so maybe now Matt Damon is low rent Jesse Plemons, but whatever.
Yeah.
He was really good with his real life partner, Kirsten Dunst. They have 2 kids, so that was interesting to see. And it was just kind of had that kind of an M. Night Shyamalan feeling where you don't know what's happening till the damn end of the movie, and you get this like boom, and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I had to go back and like look at something, and I was like, oh snap. And then and then you're still like, oh crap. So what is his name? Cody Smith Fee, I think, or something like that. The young man who played the son.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. Awesome. That boy a sandwich. I ain't never seen anybody that skinny, man.
Damn. He's a tiny little thing.
Man. I mean, but the movie itself was gorgeous. Through the first half of it, I'm like going, oh my God, is this going to be over soon? Because I'm not interested in anybody really. Wow, Benedict Cumberbatch plays an asshole. Ooh, who would have seen this? He's done it in everything he's done. He's either egotistical Doctor Strange or egotistical Sherlock Holmes. I mean, here we are, but he's egotistical dude in Montana. So here we go. But overall, I mean, God, the movie was good, but it took a long time to get to it. The payoff, I could have seen it paced a little bit faster. Just a little bit.
I think we're just used to that too. We're out of habit of deliberate drama. You know what I mean? Because everything is
letting things develop.
Everything is so kinetic that this kind of slow kind of build up you're just not used to anymore. But it perfectly works for this.
It did.
So you might have to watch it a couple times because your head's gonna get blown off, and you might have to be like, "Oh snap! Now I want to see what I missed." Yeah. So
that's a great point about the speed of the film. You're right, because we are so used to things, so a frenetic pace. Even like a movie like Raiders of the Lost Ark from 1981, it seems in some spots a little slow compared to some of the things with the Avengers and the bajillion of the Chitauri that they're being killed off. I mean, it's like, that's a little slow.
Right.
It's weird that way. We're getting used to the speed of things.
And I think that's an issue, because some things you need deliberate. It's just like a cake. You rush a cake, it's going to fall and not be good. But if you just wait, get the chemistry right and all the elements and the temperature, it'll come out beautiful. So, this was the tastiest cake I had in a long time. All right. Definitely watch. Be patient. Power of the Dog. Definitely. I see why it's up for all those awards. All right. So let's go to our final one, which is Being the Ricardos.
You gotta understand. A hit television show today, a big hit television show, what does it get? Let's go crazy and say 15. 15 million viewers, because this is a big, giant hit. Here's what you gotta understand. I Love Lucy, 60 million.
Everyone here stands shoulder to shoulder with you, and no one feels funny because we're scared to death, and you're not helping by jumping up and down on everyone who works here and doing it in front of the whole crew.
God damn it, Viv. Most American women look like you, not me. They want to see themselves on television.
What the hell are the two of you screaming about? I'm in my room taking my mid-morning nap.
Don't you usually do that while we're rehearsing?
I'd love to hear more of that Mossart wit on the show.
I borrowed part of your tuxedo.
Oh, okay. Pat, what'd you think? Being the Ricardos.
It was good. I enjoyed it. J.K. Simmons stole every single scene he was in easily without even trying. I mean, and he was against some big contenders there for all those scenes. I enjoyed him quite a bit. I enjoyed Javier Bardem, surprisingly. Played something that wasn't a crazy killer. So that was a good solid move for him, because I can't, it's been so hard for me to.
Well, he was a lady killer.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just going to forget we ever said that, Pam. Okay. No, I mean, because he's just so memorable in No Country for Old Men. And I mean, it's hard to shake a role when you've done such a, lack of a better word, killer job in a role, and it's hard to sometimes unsee those roles. But he was amazing in J.K. Simmons, and Nicole Kidman was okay. I mean, she was probably the weakest one of the four. I mean, really, as far as I don't think she really got. I mean, I didn't feel like I was watching Lucy, whereas with Javier Bardem, that's Ricky. And J.K. Simmons, I mean, he wasn't doing Fred Mertz very well, but at the same time, he was hilarious and he stole the scenes. He had the best lines in the whole thing. So overall, it was good. I enjoyed it. I didn't feel like I got cheated out of 2 hours of my life watching it. So that's always a good sign. It was nothing groundbreaking or anything, but it was interesting to see, how Lucy was probably the smartest one in the room all the time, to be sure. So, yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah. David, what did you think? Oh, this is your time period too, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And I grew up as a kid on the Fox 41. There's a plug for WDRB in Louisville. Yeah. We would, Lucy, the Three Stooges, Andy Griffith, Warner Brothers cartoons. That was my weekday afternoon, and I loved it. Maybe a little bit of G-Force thrown in there, but I Leave It to Beaver. Grew up with I Love Lucy, a brilliant show, and I thought this cast did a great job. It's a biopic that really, it pulls back the curtain and you see one of the most brilliant individuals in old Hollywood, Lucille Ball. Comedy is hard, and I know that it has been very difficult, very honestly, for many women who want to be comedians to really shine for whatever reason. Sometimes it's misogyny, whatever. It's the writing, it's the casting. I know that a lot of the first women on Saturday Night Live felt they were kind of like really pigeonholed and had a tough time.
Yeah.
Lucy was not just the housewife. And I think that brought it together. It's an amazing show that I think in many ways still is timeless in its comedy. I thought this did a great job of that. She is the smartest woman in the room. And also really good in terms of thinking ahead. Desilu Productions. We can thank her for as much as we talk about Star Wars. We can thank her for Star Trek because it was the production company that let that happen. Great show. I agree with Javier is awesome. He is a great violent killer, but he does a great job with Ricky Ricardo. And to see, Fred Burt's not the lovable guy that you would see on the show. And we had some challenges with it and all. So this was great. Fantastic. See it. If you don't know the show, folks, watch the old show, but see this movie and know.
Right. Especially those episodes that they talk about, the going to Italy and the stone and the stone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just classic.
And what was the other one? There were a couple of them that are the classic, not just for that show, for TV history as a classic. And I thought that was it's really interesting. Young people today don't understand. We were around when TV actually went off at night.
Yeah. Three channels, everybody.
Three channels until 19.
We had 4 in Kansas City.
Yeah, well, not network. There were 3 network channels, and then there were always independent channels.
With the independent,
yes.
And
depending on the snowy with the antenna, we might get 4.
We had 5.
Yeah, but there were until 1985 or 6 maybe, when Fox came around. There were 3 channels. They were only on until midnight, maybe midnight or 1, and then they shut off for 5 hours until 5 o'clock in Kansas. The crop report, the farm report, the U.S. farm report.
I missed the farm report. The hog prices. Those 2 old guys, man, I love them. Wave terrible. 3, American history, like a minute with the national anthem.
But people don't understand too how innovative and groundbreaking Desi Arnaz was. The 3-camera setup is standard now in television, and he created that. And some other innovations they did on that show and Desilu Productions that not just for TV, movies, and the way they were brilliant at contracts and managing the studios and the heads of studios and their own stuff and the companies that they worked with. So many innovations. Definitely check
interracial
out.
Family, interracial couple.
And a movie is well done when the children agree to be associated with it, and the children approved it, and so that there are some things about it that are true to life. And I didn't realize that she was caught up in the whole McCarthyism and the scare about communism. I didn't realize that at all. And I think that bringing that out in the movie was one of the more powerful parts of the movie.
Yeah.
To me, what people also probably don't know is her and Vivian Vance were not friends at all. They were enemies. She treated Vivian Vance terribly, and check out her biography. It's very revealing. There was just a lot of contention on that set for them because Vivian Vance, they don't portray it in the show, but Vivian Vance was beautiful.
Oh yeah,
I mean, she was gorgeous, and Lucille Ball did not want her to be who she was, gorgeous and beautiful. She wanted her to be frumpy. And so that was a lot of contention, and you saw some of that play out. And I thought that was really interesting, those kind of dynamics. And I think, what's his name? William Frawley played Fred Mertz. Yeah, he had a terrible alcohol problem.
Yeah.
And, but, guys back then, especially vaudeville guys, they were doing all kind of stuff. But once it came time to hit the stage, they hit their marks and they did their job, and then they stumbled off and did, all kind of craziness. But that's what was interesting, was they were so super talented, but a woman in Hollywood in the 50s, she had to fight for every period, every comma, every, everything. So it was good to show that kind of dynamic there. And I thought, now I have to differ with you. I don't know, Javier Bardem, I thought was too old and not physically fitting the role. I felt like, of course, he's a great actor, but I just thought he was a little too old for it. And I kind of thought, I was like, I don't know about him and her. I don't know. But Nicole Kidman, I thought did great. Maybe, and I think they deliberately didn't worry about the physicality matching, but her voice at times really did sound like Lucille Ball's voice, and that husky, raspy voice. And so it was really interesting. And definitely also, if you like it, you should also check out her interviews. She had an interview show, and that had a few episodes. They're playing them on Sirius Radio. You can hear them, and she was a great interviewer. So, and she interviewed some of the bigger names, but they never released it. So definitely check that out too. So this was an interesting way they did the biopic, by having the real life studio people, the writers, and the head of not head of production, but the executive producer at the time. Because people, I don't know if you guys watched, but we watched the last episode of MASH. That episode got 125 million viewers one night. So that's like almost half the country at the time watching one show, if you could believe that. Today, it seems like it's hard to get 200,000 people to. They're like, oh my God, we got 800,000 viewers.
Success is really drastically redefined today compared to what it was before. Again, when there's only 3 channels or 4 channels in an area where everyone's kind of waiting to see who did shoot JR. And those,
oh my gosh, that got like 50 or 60 million views.
Yeah, unbelievable.
AR back in the day. So we just don't, in today's modern world where there's 200 or 300 channels that you could choose from, one show just doesn't command that attention like it used to.
Right.
But, one incident on Twitter or something, and you can get 100 million views.
Which speaks to the attention span and where people are.
140 characters. That's how we're living life now. So definitely, I think, check out Being the Ricardos. It's a different and interesting way to do a biopic. And it's a very interesting take, both on their marriage and both on the studio aspect of that week of shows, and then the political drama underneath it. Yeah. So definitely check out Being the Ricardos. So here we are at the end of our show. And next week, we're going to watch, next week starts the beginning of Black History Month. And so we will review different TV shows and movies about celebrating African American culture, predominantly African American cast, or something interesting out in the in entertainment. So next week we're gonna watch Boba Fett, and we're gonna watch on ABC the Abbott Elementary, which is one of the most watched shows right now, and the CW has a new superhero series starring a young African-American girl called Naomi. And I think we said Tragedy of Macbeth. Okay. So one of those. So definitely we're going to start checking out these great TV shows and movies. Tragedy of Macbeth. with Denzel Washington. Ought to be an interesting take with Frances McDormand as Lady Macbeth. So we'll see how this turns out. But how about some final
I can tell you
words,
how it'll
fellas?
go. It'll go bad. I've seen that. I've seen the other things. I think it'll be interesting to see how these guys play it, but it doesn't end well. Spoiler.
Oh, why'd you say that? You
Oh
ruined
my
it.
God! Yes, I know. No one's ever heard of Macbeth. It's kind of a new thing. Yeah. Oh, Will, he's been writing it. Yes.
Well, you know what? Today, I don't put nothing past anybody. So we might think it might have a bad ending, but, you know, it might turn out that they go off in the sunset together.
Right.
They'll do a Desolation of Smog move. Yeah, okay.
Zounds, I say, zounds. My final word.
I bite my thumb at you. Yes, exactly.
Pat, you got any final words?
Nope, nothing today. Just I'm not biting my thumb at anybody though. So there we go.
Okay. David, how about you?
Oh, stay warm, be safe. Just have a fantastic rest of your Saturday night and enjoy it. Stay in and watch something fun with people that you love. See y'all.
I like that. Definitely. Stay warm, cuddle up, wear a mask if you're going out. Some gloves too. I know your parent or guardian would tell you, wear a hat and some gloves and a mask. It's cold out there. And you know, our world is kind of cold. So take time to be nice to one another. And we'll see you next week on PJamma Live. Take care. Bye.
So long, everybody.
See ya.